We're going to do a quick video on how to repair your boat with ordinary tarp. So what we're going to do is we're going to repair some of these scratches, and you can see here we got a large gouge that we're going to fill with ordinary tarp. And what happens is the tarp actually melts on a molecular level with this plastic. There you can see the finished product. That was a pretty deep gouge. It's completely smooth, and this tarp is actually stronger than this parent material. What we're going to do today is we're going to go ahead and repair some scratches on this boat. These boats get damaged very easily, rock gardening. These barnacle covered rocks really eat through this plastic. It doesn't take much. Even one day rock gardening and your boat can look like this. So what we're going to do is we're going to fill in the scratches you see right here. There's a couple deep gouges, and what we're using is ordinary tarp. You can see we've used orange tarp here. Well, I'm out of orange tarp. So we're going to use this black and green tarp that I have here. The first step is heating up your putty knife. So you want to heat your putty knife up to where it gets almost where it's red hot. As soon as it starts getting red, that's when you want to pull it off the flame. It's ready. You don't want it too hot, but you definitely want it hot enough to melt this tarp on a molecular level into this parent material, into this plastic. So the second step is making sure you have your tarp in position when the hot putty knife comes to melt it directly onto the hull. So I'm going to show you these steps now. We're going to heat this putty knife up. Like I said, you want the putty knife to where it just starts turning red. And I like cutting my strips into about 2-inch wide strips. If they're really deep gouges, I'll fold it, and that way I can get 2 layers with one pass. But in this case, they're not that deep, so I'll just use a single layer. The putty knife is just now starting to get red hot, and I'm going to pull it off before it gets there. And you can see how I'm melting this directly onto the boat, filling in these gouges. These repairs are permanent repairs, and in most cases, mainly in this case, this material here, this dagger is really soft. The tarp is actually denser than the dagger material. If I took my putty knife after this cooled and scraped across the surface of the dagger and crossed this tarp repair, the scrape or the gouge will be wider going through the actual plastic and much less going into the tarp. It's a denser material than the dagger.
What did you do to come up with that? I mean, why did you think of tarp? That's just...
What I did, actually Bill and I were talking about how to repair these gouges we're getting in. I started experimenting with just tons of different stuff. Mm-hmm. All types of different rope material, and I don't know how I came across tarp, but it was like, wow, it passed this test, that test, this stuff is amazing. And it turned out to be a great product for repairing boats.
Works on pretty much all the types of plastic?
Yeah. And it's really durable. And it doesn't. And once it's on your boat, you're not getting it off. Mm-hmm. You can't. Like the logo I put on this boat, that I didn't melt in. I just barely. It'll be there forever, but you can pry that off. Mm-hmm. You won't ever get that other tarp off. It's on there. It's part of the boat.
Part of the boat.
Yeah. You'll be gouging into the actual plastic of the boat to get it off. It's strong.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You try like Clorox bottles and that kind of plastic?
Yeah, not Clorox bottles, but all the different milk bottles. Uh-huh. I tried a bunch of different stuff. I may have tried a bottle similar to that. But I just started chopping up plastic of various types and using it, and it just seemed like tarp was easiest.
The other plastic was like chipping off and stuff like that?
Chipping, or it just kept on staying on fire, especially like the rope. I drip it on there and try to put it out, and just kept on just reel. It's like, shit, that stuff doesn't want to go out. But it just stayed on. It was easy to put on, and it stayed on, and it was durable.
Well, you were experimenting with bedliner too, weren't you? At one point, besides the
yeah, bedliner. I had it installed on the eddy line.
Okay.
And sprayed on the eddy line.
That was a composite boat, though.
That
It was
was
a
yeah.
composite boat. That wasn't
composite
plastic,
boat.
though.
That was a plastic boat, but it was
Okay.
a thermal mold plastic.
Oh, okay.
It's not really made for
Okay.
fun.
But more, this is
These are
polyethylene.
polyethylene. These are
Okay.
different.
So the eddy line is more of a PVC.
Yeah, kind of like thermal
Oh,
mold
okay.
plastic. Kind of. It's different than this type of plastic.
Okay.
And a lot of stuff sticks to that plastic actually.
Okay.
Does this work on the eddy line stuff?
I've never tried it on anyone.
Who's got an eddy line boat?
I think that methyl methacrylate that Bill used is perfect for the eddy line. Use that with like S-glass. That'd be a really good armor for the eddy line.
It works well on the fiberglass boats too, because I've still got places where you patch my
Methyl methacrylate.
my Explorer that
Well,
holds
before
on.
you came up with the tarp, I think we were trying G-Flex. And
G-Flex
that
is
was-
garbage.
Yeah.
That stuff is garbage.
Eventually, like after the boat flexes a little bit, it starts to peel off.
So what about these plastic welding kits with the plastic rods that you get? How does that work as compared to this?
Well, it depends on the kind of repair. You talk to Tom, that's the only way to go for any kind of repair, is a welding kit. And in your case today, that might have been the best way, is have Tom actually weld it up.
The crack in the stern.
Yeah, but we had a big class in Bill's. We had all these different seams that we did, and we did a lot of them. Bill took his torch with a little point on it and kneaded the plastic. It was by far the strongest seam.
Yeah, we tried. Yeah.
Try to bend it. You couldn't even. He just took both materials and melted them together. Whereas Tom took a soft welding rod or a medium density welding rod, I'm not quite sure, and used that to heat the plastic and melt the rod into the groove. It just wasn't even close to what Bill did.
Well, the one thing we did that day, I think that you finished today, what worked the best is after kneading it together, you tarped over it like you did today.
Yeah.
I think because kneading it together, you get a little air and you lose a little thickness. I think adding the tarp to it,
That helps.
and that's just going to just
Yeah.
make it solid.
Yeah.
It's going to be the
Yeah.
repair.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's going to be a good repair. So I try to really get the plastic. I melted both sides, and when he started going into each, I started trying to knead it real quick. So I think that's going to be a pretty
I
strong.
think
Yeah.
you're just using the parent material, exact parent
Yeah.
material.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, like Bill said, you also put that layer of harder material on top of it to protect it. So the tarp material.
And remember, the first layer of the tarp, you're actually melting that tarp into
the plastic.
It's just melting, and then all the other layers are actually just being stuck onto the tarp, and they stick well together.
Okay.
So they start building up real thick.
That's
and
really
they actually
nice.
become one piece.
A major repair, but just to fix the scratch, you just one layer.
Yeah, one or two
Yeah,
layers,
fill it up.
depending
Yeah,
on the
how deep
scratch.
the scratch is.
Yeah.
Oh.
You guys want to get a beer?
Let's go back.